Do you think space is silent? Well, it's not. In this video, I'll take you on a journey through the most scary planet sounds ever recorded in space. They are real sounds captured by NASA and other space agencies, and trust me, they only get more terrifying as we go on. Let's start with this one. Before we even leave Earth, space starts whispering to us. Deep within our planet's magnetosphere, NASA's Van Allen probes recorded eerie chirping noises called chorus waves. These sounds are created when energetic electrons interact with Earth's magnetic field. And when translated to audio, they sound like a haunting chorus of birds in a ghostly forest. It's beautiful, but also strangely unsettling. This next sound will send chills down your spine. Listen closely and try not to get too scared. Now we head to Mars. For the first time ever, we've actually heard what it sounds like on another planet. NASA's Perseverance rover recorded wind blowing across the surface, along with the crunch of its own wheels. The air is thinner, the winds are colder, and it sounds strangely empty, like a deserted alien world. If you thought this was creepy, wait until you hear what's coming next. It only gets more weird from here. Venus is one of the most extreme planets in our solar system. Hot enough to melt lead, with pressure strong enough to crush a submarine. Back in 1982, the Soviet Venera 13 probe managed to land on the surface and send back sound. What it picked up was terrifying. Strange mechanical noises as the probe opened, followed by deep, howling winds. These weren't gentle breezes. They were violent, ghostly gusts pushing through an atmosphere of thick carbon dioxide. It's the only direct audio we've ever gotten from Venus, and it sounds like something out of a nightmare. What you're about to hear is one of the most mysterious sounds ever recorded in space. Are you ready? Now we're at Saturn, where things get even weirder. The Cassini spacecraft picked up radio waves near Saturn's poles during auroras, kind of like the northern lights, but way more intense. When those radio signals were turned into sound, they didn't sound like anything natural. It was high-pitched, echoey, and creepy, like a warning signal coming from deep space. Did you think this one was weird? Wait until you hear the ones I saved for the end of the video. Jupiter is massive, the biggest planet in our solar system. And it doesn't just look intimidating, it sounds terrifying too. NASA's Juno spacecraft flew through Jupiter's magnetic field and picked up plasma waves. These aren't sounds in the traditional sense, but when they're converted to audio, they make high-pitched shrieking noises. Imagine a mix between a distant scream and radio static. That's what it sounds like. These waves come from charged particles moving at high speeds through Jupiter's thick magnetic environment. The result? Something that feels like you're listening to a storm inside a haunted machine. And considering Jupiter has storms bigger than Earth, it kind of makes sense. Think this is weird? Just wait. The most unsettling sound is coming up soon, and it will shock you. Uranus is already a strange planet. It spins on its side and has a weird magnetic field. But when a NASA spacecraft passed by, it picked up chorus waves that sounded like eerie alien birds. These sounds came from particles bouncing around in its magnetic field, and the result was something that didn't feel natural at all. Neptune is the farthest planet from the Sun, and it's one of the coldest places in the solar system. But just because it's quiet and distant doesn't mean it's silent. Voyager 2 flew past Neptune in 1989 and picked up plasma waves coming from its magnetic field. When translated into sound, it gave off a deep, rumbling tone, like a storm echoing through an empty cave. There's something about the sound that feels too big, too empty, too far from anything human. It's like the planet is humming from the inside out. Even though Neptune is mostly ice and gas, the sound it makes feels alive. Each sound is scarier than the last, but the final one is absolutely terrifying. You don't want to miss it. Mercury might be small, but it's got a powerful magnetic field. When NASA's Messenger spacecraft flew by, it recorded strange electromagnetic activity. After turning the data into sound, what came out was a jittery pulsing noise, almost like a mechanical heartbeat. It's sharp, repetitive, and feels like it's coming from deep inside a machine that shouldn't exist. The deeper we go into space, the stranger it gets. The final sound on this list will leave you speechless. Imagine flying through billions of tiny ice and rock particles at 70,000 miles per hour. That's what NASA's Cassini spacecraft did when it passed through Saturn's rings. While it was crossing, its instruments picked up sharp, clicking sounds that almost resembled popcorn popping or static bursts. These weren't digital glitches. They were real impacts from tiny ring particles hitting the spacecraft. It's one of the only times we've heard what it's like to move through a planetary ring. And it's unsettling to think that something so beautiful from afar could sound this chaotic up close. You won't believe what we found at the end of the universe. Keep watching to hear it for yourself. The sun doesn't just shine, it constantly blasts out streams of charged particles known as solar wind. NASA's Parker Solar Probe flew right through it and recorded waves of energy that were later turned into sound. The result? A low, warbling hiss, like a furnace breathing in space. It's wild to think that the sun, something we rely on every day, sounds so unsettling up close. During the Apollo 10 mission in 1969, astronauts were orbiting the far side of the moon, totally out of contact with Earth, when they heard something bizarre through their radios. It was a kind of whistling, warbling noise that didn't sound like static or feedback. One of the astronauts even asked, "You hear that whistling sound?" and called it spacey music. NASA later suggested it might have been radio interference between modules, but the mystery never really went away. The sound was never fully explained. It's one thing to hear weird noises from machines, but when astronauts start questioning what they're hearing out in deep space, that's when it gets really unsettling. Some of these sounds are bizarre, but the last one will make you question everything. Stay tuned. Black holes don't make sound the way we think of it, but NASA found a way to turn the data around them into audio. What came out is something straight out of a horror movie. Deep, low groans and distant rumbling that feels alive. It's not just spooky, it's cosmic scale creepy. Like the universe itself is growling in a language we'll never understand. You won't believe the final sound on this list. It's the most disturbing one yet. Stay tuned until the very end. You've heard of earthquakes, but on Mars they're called Marsquakes. NASA's InSight lander picked up deep tremors coming from inside the red planet. When those seismic waves were translated into sound, they didn't rumble like a regular quake. Instead, it sounded like distant thunder, echoing in a huge, empty canyon. Some of the quakes went on for hours, and because the Martian atmosphere is so thin, the sound was raw and stripped down. No echo, no reverb, just the planet itself moving in the dark. It's one of the most honest and haunting recordings we've ever heard from another world. Enceladus might look like a frozen snowball, but underneath, it hides a liquid ocean. Cassini flew past this small moon and recorded strange activity. Icy plumes shooting into space from cracks in the surface. The translated data came out as hissing, almost like steam escaping from vents deep underground. Except this wasn't Earth. This was a moon, crying into the void. If you thought this was creepy, wait until you hear what's coming next. It only gets more weird from here. Titan is Saturn's largest moon, and it's one of the most Earth-like places in space, but also one of the weirdest. It has thick clouds, lakes made of methane, and winds that howl through an icy haze. When Cassini flew close enough to study Titan's atmosphere, it picked up waves of pressure changes that were turned into audio. The result? A low, ghostly hum that slowly rises and falls, almost like breathing. It feels alive, but not in a comforting way. More like something ancient and waiting. Titan may be the only other place with weather like ours, but it definitely doesn't sound like home. Make sure to watch this video all the way to the end, as the most surprising sounds are the most far away, and thus in the end of the video. Io isn't just any moon. It's the most volcanic body in the entire solar system. When Voyager 1 flew past it, it picked up intense electromagnetic activity linked to these eruptions. The audio translation? A weird warbling screech like distant alarms going off in deep space. It's loud, chaotic, and totally alien, just like the moon itself. What you're about to hear next will change the way you think about space forever. Don't skip ahead. Pluto may be tiny and far from the sun, but it's still full of surprises. When NASA's New Horizons probe flew by in 2015, it detected weird interactions between Pluto's thin atmosphere and the solar wind, that constant stream of charged particles from the sun. When the data was turned into sound, it came out as a deep, droning hum with bursts of static, like a signal trying to break through from across the galaxy. It's hard to believe something so small and cold could produce something that feels this intense. But out here, nearly 4 billion miles away, even silence carries weight. Voyager 1 is the farthest human-made object from Earth, and it's still sending data. As it crossed into interstellar space, it recorded plasma waves from the space between stars. When converted into audio, it sounds like something from a dream or a nightmare. A rising, ghostly whistle that seems endless. It's the sound of a place where no human has ever been, and maybe never will. By the time we reach number 1, you might never want to listen to space sounds again. What if the scariest sound is no sound at all? The Bode's void is a massive, empty region of space, hundreds of millions of light years across, with almost nothing in it. No stars, no galaxies, just darkness. Scientists decided to sonify this cosmic silence. The result was unsettling. Low, distant tones that fade in and out like whispers from the abyss. It's not loud, but it leaves a feeling in your chest, like you're floating in a place that was never meant to be found. It's the sound of isolation on a cosmic scale. A reminder that the universe isn't just full of stars and planets. It's also full of emptiness. And sometimes that's the scariest part of all. You won't believe the final sound on this list. It's the most disturbing one yet. Stay tuned until the very end. This is the sound of the beginning of everything. Scientists have taken data from the cosmic microwave background, the leftover radiation from the Big Bang, and turned it into sound. What we hear isn't an explosion, but a deep, pulsing roar. It rises and falls like a breath from something unimaginably big. The sound lasts only a few seconds, but it's actually a compressed version of the first 380,000 years of the universe. It's the oldest sound we've ever recovered. And it doesn't just echo in space, it echoes in time. Listening to it feels like you're hearing the moment the universe opened its eyes. It's not sharp or sudden. It's heavy, low, and cosmic. There's something deeply unsettling about it because you realize this is where everything started. Everything you know, everything you are, all of it from this sound. Let me know what you think in the comments below.